It began as a whisper in the throat, a dryness that no water could quench. Then came the trembling, slow at first, like leaves shivering before rain. Within days, the trembling turned violent. Bones stiffened, eyes sank, skin grayed. And then, the smell. A faint sweetness, like flowers rotting in sunlight. One by one, the villagers died. No herb worked. No prayer stayed the sickness. No sacrifice softened whatever unseen force had laid its shadow over Umuoka. The elders slaughtered goats. The women burned sacred leaves until smoke swallowed the sky. The hunters searched the forest for cursed footprints. Nothing answered, nothing changed, except the graves. They multiplied. Children stopped playing, mothers stopped singing. Even the river slowed its laughter, as if afraid to disturb the dead beneath the soil. Then he came. No one saw him arrive. One morning, when the mist still clung low to the ground, he was simply there. Standing at the entrance of the village shrine, dressed in a long white robe that seemed untouched by dust. He carried no bag, no walking stick, no sign of travel, only a wooden staff, carved with symbols no one recognized. He said his name was Father Namdi. His voice was soft, too soft. It made people lean closer without knowing why. His eyes were calm, not the calm of peace, but the calm of someone who had seen something so terrible that nothing else could ever frighten him again. He said he had been sent by divine mercy. He said he had come to heal. The first person he touched was a boy barely breathing, his mother kneeling beside him, rocking back and forth in silent madness. The boy's skin had already begun to pale into that terrible gray. His lips had turned the color of ash. Father Namdi knelt. He placed his hand on the boy's chest. He closed his eyes. The air changed. That was what the villagers would later whisper to one another. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. Even the flies hovering near the boy's face dropped to the ground as if struck by invisible force. Then the boy gasped. His chest rose violently. Color rushed back into his skin. His eyes snapped open. Alive. The mother screamed, not in grief, but in disbelief so overwhelming it broke her voice apart. From that moment, Father Namdi became their miracle. He moved from hut to hut, touching the dying, whispering words no one could fully hear. Each time, the same stillness filled the air. Each time, life returned where death had already begun its work. Within weeks, the sickness stopped claiming lives. Within months, it vanished completely. The graves remained, but no new ones came. The villagers called him Savior, Healer, Messenger of Heaven. They built him a home near the shrine. They brought him food, gifts, livestock, carved ornaments. They knelt when he passed. Mothers lifted their children for his blessing. Elders consulted him before making decisions. And Father Namdi accepted everything with gentle humility. But he never stayed long in sunlight. He never allowed anyone inside his dwelling after dusk, and sometimes, late at night, a sound came from his home. Not chanting, not prayer. Something wet. Something like breathing. But wrong. No one spoke of it openly. Gratitude is a powerful blindfold. Except for Adais. She was not easily blinded. Adais had buried her husband during the height of the sickness. She had washed his body herself. She had smelled that strange sweetness rising from his skin as life drained away. She remembered the exact shade of gray his lips had turned. So when she began to notice that same faint sweetness clinging to Father Namdi's robes, her heart did not rest. At first, she told herself grief had sharpened her imagination. But then came the disappearances. Not deaths, disappearances. A goat here, a dog there. Chickens found drained of blood. Their bodies oddly preserved, not torn, not eaten, simply emptied. Then one morning a child woke screaming that someone had been standing over his bed at night, breathing slowly, watching him. The child described a white robe. Adais watched more carefully after that. She noticed Father Namdi often looked tired after healing someone. Not physically tired, something deeper, as though each healing pulled something out of him or into him. And sometimes, when no one else was close enough to see, his reflection in water did not move exactly when he did. A moment too slow. A moment too late. Like something inside him needed time to remember how to mimic life. She told the village elder. He told her grief was making her ungrateful. She told the women who prepared offerings. They told her miracles require mystery. She told herself to stop watching. But then she saw the ground behind his dwelling. Disturbed earth, freshly turned. Not deep enough for burial, but not shallow enough for planting. Something was being hidden there. That night, Adès waited. The moon was thin, barely enough light to separate shadow from shape. She crept close.